Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Mia Younghans, and for my script analysis final, I have chosen the 2019 anime, The Promised Neverland. For some background, this anime is based off of the first 5 volumes of the 2016 manga of the same name. I highly recommend it. It just finished in 2020. And for time's sake, as much as I really don't want to, I am going to be simplifying this down plot-wise. Now, in my personal opinion, the best way to watch this show is to go in completely blind, but because of this project, none of you get that option. So if it wasn't obvious, major spoilers ahead. So to give you the premise The Promised Neverland has 3 main characters, Emma, Norman, and Ray. All 3 of them are 11 years old, and Emma being our protagonist. The story begins in October 2045, where the 3 of them live in an orphanage with their 35 other siblings. They're not actually related, but that's just how they refer to each other. They all live in the same orphanage together. And they're all taken care of by their wonderful, loving mother, Isabella. Now, from the get-go, we understand that these are not normal children. They're actually insanely smart, the 3 smartest being the 3 oldest, our main characters, Emma, Norman, and Ray, Norman being the smartest out of the 3 of them. Also from the beginning, we see a few very off-putting things about their so perfect lives. Example, they all wear the same outfit, all stark white. None of them have been outside of the grounds of the orphanage. And the most jarring, all of them have unique tattooed numbers on the left sides of their neck. Our story really gets going when their younger sister Connie, about 6 years old, gets chosen by a foster family and sets out to leave the orphanage. However, she manages to leave her favorite stuffed bunny. So being good older siblings, Emma and Norman run to the gate with a stuffed animal to bring it to her. But when they get to the gate, they discover something that destroys their entire perception of reality. Surprise! Connie's dead. The orphanage they live on? It's a farm, and they're livestock. Livestock for what? Demons! And where is their mother in all of this? The one that should be protecting them. She's helping the demons! Isabella, their loving mother, has not only been lying to them, but is also our antagonist. After this reality-shattering scene, we get some of what I would personally consider some of the most realistic and best anime voice acting I've heard, in my opinion, ever. And now with Emma and Norman knowing the truth about the orphanage, they realize they need to find a way to escape. And all of that is literally just episode 1. So there are 2 questions that are being asked in this series. 1, can they escape? And 2, what is the state of the outside world? Because in the words of Ray,
この外がどうなっているのかわからない。でも出荷される先がある。農園ってものがあること自体で予想はつくだろ。
In this season in particular, it only answers one of those questions. Can they escape? The Promised Neverland does follow a very clear 3-act structure. Act 1 being just episode 1, as I explained before, is when they find out the truth about the orphanage and what's actually going on. Act 2 is episodes 2 through 10, which is basically them putting together their plan of how they're going to try and escape, and they run into 6 obstacles along the way. 1 is the question of how can they escape with everyone. 2 is making their plan and keeping it entirely a secret from their mother, Isabella. 3, the discovery of the tracking devices on their bodies. 4, the 2-meter-thick, insanely tall concrete wall that surrounds the perimeter of the orphanage. 5, Sister Crone, who is a helper that is introduced later on in Act 2. And 6, the traitor among the kids who is telling everything about the plan to Isabella. And after overcoming all of these obstacles in Act 3, in episodes 11 and 12, we see them put their plan into action and escape. Outside of the 3-act structure, we do have some side stories, the most prevalent being Isabella's backstory, which is honestly so heartbreaking to watch because everything she has done has been out of survival and love. And speaking of survival, that word is a very large theme overarching the entire series, along with the themes of family and sacrifice. At the end of the series, the closing image is a direct contrast to the opening. In the opening image, we see our protagonist, Emma, at around 5 years old, staring into the gate, seeing the bars in front of her, looking as if she's imprisoned and trapped. And the closing image shows the complete opposite of that, as we see Emma now outside of the wall, free and running away, and we see her looking into the sunrise over the horizon. Like I said before, The Promised Neverland Season 1 does leave one question unanswered. What is the state of the outside world? And you could go looking for that answer in Season 2, however, I highly recommend you don't. The second season is an absolute disaster of plot holes and missing arcs, as they tried to cram 15 volumes of manga into the same 12-episode setup. What I'm trying to say here is if you want more of the show after you finish it, just read the manga. Even if you don't want to buy it, it's on the Shonen Jump website. Just don't watch the second season. For the author Kayu Shirai and the artist Pazuka Demizu. This is actually the first show that they've worked on, but the artist did recently sign on to a project with Disney where they're planning to mix live action and anime. I don't know how well that's gonna go, but I do love this artist, so like I'm hoping for the best for them. The manga also got a Japanese live action adaptation in 2020 in movie form, following the exact same arc that we see in the anime. However, that one didn't really do so well. There were plans for an American live action adaptation with Netflix, but it hasn't really been talked about since 2020, and considering how the second season did with ratings, I doubt they're actually going to pick it up unless they decide to jump right into later volumes of the manga, which I could honestly see them doing really cool stuff with, considering those are a bit more action driven and also the characters are a little older. And finally, as for similar shows, there are actually a lot of shows with kind of similar themes in anime. I believe on Crunchyroll there's actually a whole section called Children Running from Imminent Death, but more specifically on the whole children escaping being livestock type deal. There is actually an anime where the beginning is very similar. It's called Seraph of the End. However, that anime goes in a completely different direction than what The Promised Neverland does. In conclusion, I absolutely love this show. Having the opportunity to rewatch it for this project has been fantastic, and I hope I have convinced y'all to at least check it out. Since this video is going to be played in front of my class, I am not going to do my normal YouTube outro because I don't want to completely embarrass myself, but I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!